back there. You got some of my two in a row. Man, you got some good films up there. Good fellas up there. Look at that.
Rocky.
Exorcist. Oh, Rocky. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I like your film choices.
Well, and I like your film. I love The Shift very much, and I just want to congratulate both of you for the great job you've done with the movie here. As myself, as a genre fan and a Christian as well, it's really great to see the merging of both of those genres here. Brock, I just want to ask you first. This movie, The Shift, at its core, it's a very kind of relatable film. It's a film about faith, especially a faith about during a time of hopelessness. So I was just really curious. What's the inspiration for yourself to put pen to paper and write a movie like this? Because I think there's a story behind the story there.
Yeah, there's definitely a story behind the story. It really came from thinking about my life and my marriage and those times. Anybody who's married is probably going to recognize this. Those times when you really have a different idea of what in the world's going on. And my wife, asking me if I've paid the bills, and me saying, I don't remember you ever asking me to pay the bills. And now she's mad at me because I didn't pay the bills, and now the bills are late, and now we're having this discord. And but meanwhile, what's really going on here is just two different ideas of like reality. We're both living in the same reality, but we have two very different ideas of what's going on. And my wife will say, "Oh, I'm just forgetful," but I say, "No, you never said it." So you take this idea and you think about, I'm a comic book fan from way back, and the multiverse is very popular right now. But when I first started coming up with this, it wasn't necessarily something that was out there, but it was something that I was very familiar with. And the idea in the multiverse is that every decision you make, there's another you somewhere who's made a different choice. And what if somebody with bad intentions could move us between those realities where the differences are very, very subtle. And so that we are having these arguments, and we're both right. We're both right. We've both had this experience where I didn't promise and she said I did. And that's true for her and it's true for me. And now we're having these fights and we're having these contentions. And so it was a very quick journey from that idea to, well, what if that was a movie? What if that was a story and that was our antagonist and this was his main weapon of choice? And what would that do to a couple who is really going through something, and how could he divide them further, and how could he make their lives miserable? And within that misery, what hope would they be able to grab onto?
Neil, speaking of that man with bad intentions, the benefactor who you portray in the movie, the ultimate villain, he's ultimately based on Satan in many contexts. How do you approach a role like this? Because I know you like to go deep in a role, but when you have a character like this, how do you kind of go deep in a character like that? What type of people do you look at real life people? Do you look at real life moments? I'm just really curious about how you go deep under the skin of a character like that.
Well, first it comes down to the words. And if the words are on the page, then it makes it a whole lot easier. Brock put together this really, truly incredible script that kind of makes it so simple to make the right choices, if that makes sense. And as a method actor, I go deep into my soul for every character that I play. And I've played some pretty, a couple months back, about 6 months ago, 5 months ago, I did a one-night show in Boston playing Whitey Bulger, who was,
I wish I had
public
seen
enemy.
that show.
What's that?
I wish I had seen that show. That sounds
It
amazing.
was public enemy number one. And I don't play my villains as villainous. I play my villains as everything they do is they have justification for everything they do. And there's a code and there's rules to live by. Their codes might be a tad extreme for most people, but that's just what they live by. I never play my villains as Snidely Whiplash. I never play them over the top. I'm a villain. I'm going to get you. It's not real to me. I want my characters to always seem to be, he's the guy next door. Oh, the guy next door seems kind of cool. Oh, I like him. Oh, he's kind of interesting. A little different, but I like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh gosh, I didn't see that coming. And those are the characters I love to play. Right out of the gates, you are taken by the benefactor as he's helping this guy on the street. And you think, this guy must be a nice guy. He seems kind of cool. And then it starts to unravel. But once you start playing with Brock's words, it makes it that much easier. And then I played this character, the benefactor, not as demonic or as Satan, but I really played him as a guy who's been doing this for so long, and he wants to get out of it. He's dying to find goodness and a way to get back to who Lucifer used to be, who was one of God's minions, who was so close and had a great relationship with. But as time goes on, he made horrible choices in life. And look where he is now. Well, as human beings, at times we make horrible choices in life. We sin, we are flawed, we fall on ourselves, we get so upset about the dumbest of things, and we forget all the gifts that God puts right in front of us. And once you live in that present moment, you don't need all those extra temptations. Well, my character is there to give you all the temptations. So when I see Kevin grappling with, no, I don't need those temptations, all I really need is God's love, it sets me off. It incenses me, or I disappear for years in the film because I can't understand how this guy could have that much love over all the temptations that I could give to him. And by the end of the film, you see this look on my face of, I wish I had what Kevin has.
Mm.
And that, I think, is the kind of the moment of the film where we all wish we had stronger convictions. We all wish we had strength to stand up to the temptations that life throws at you. I've been sober now for 8 years, and it was a very difficult thing to get over. But once I got over it, there's that switch inside of me. I was like, oh, why was I so bent on giving in to these temptations? All I had to do was say no to it because God has my back. And when you see films like this, what Brock has devised is you can go through torture in life, as we all do. We all have horrible things happen to us. But if you have faith in God, you can get through anything. If you know that God has your back, everything is possible. All the pains of life won't be so tragically painful, and you won't make things about you and, oh my gosh, my self-pity. You make it about him and, wow, that was another part of my life. But look at all these other great things that can happen to me if I have faith. And that's what you can say. This is a sci-fi film. You can say this is an action film. It's really a love story between Kevin and God and the woman that he loves. And I could not be prouder to be part of a film that Angel Studios puts together time in, time out, that makes the world a little bit better of a place through filmmaking.
A final question for both of you. Speaking of Angel Studios, over the last several years, there's been a real rise in kind of faith-based productions, but it's not kind of like the faith-based movies people have been used to. There is genre now associated. There's like bigger filmmaking. It seems like the talents of people in Hollywood, in other industries as well, are really coming together now with a purpose to bring these movies forward. So, Brock, for yourself as an emerging filmmaker, how does that help you kind of have your own voice in the field now that you can have a movie like The Shift out there? And Neal, for you as a veteran, what's it like watching this kind of sudden rise of all these films coming out there? Because for me, as both a Christian and as a genre movie fan, as you can see behind me, it's a great kind of like combination of both things there.
Well, I mean, for me, I think without Angel Studios, I don't think this film would exist.
You think this movie would have been made 10 years ago?
I don't think it would have been made by anybody 10 years ago, 2 years ago. Angel Studios has a very unique way of looking at what kind of stories should be out in the marketplace and what they want to promote. It's got to amplify light, and it has got to be of a certain quality. It's got to be of a certain quality, and that it has enabled a story like this to come out. And I really believe that without them, you just would never see it.
Well, I think people are also getting tired of the agenda that Hollywood's pushing and the darkness that Hollywood is pushing. And I think companies like Damascus Road, companies like The Kingdom, companies like the McDonough Company, companies like Angel Studios, companies that all have this like-minded thing, Unity, this company, this amazing company that I'm working with, 2521, all these great companies, they're all thinking, how can we make elevated movies and TV shows that actually give honor and glory to him? That's something that I think, because Hollywood had that agenda, that people are saying, you know, that's enough. Let's go make films that the family can. I had my whole family come by and watch a film that Dad was in the other night. That never happens. And there's my 9-year-old and my 17-year-old and my 13 and my 16 and my 12-year-old all sitting there engrossed. And I would look over every once in a while and they're just staring at the screen, engrossed in it. And it isn't a little kiddie film, and it isn't a dark adult film. It's a film that the whole family can go and watch. And afterwards, we had this great discussion forever. And it went into the next day of, ooh, Dad, tell me about this thing. What did that mean by that? Well, you know what I loved about this? How great is that as a father? And, for Reve and I to help produce this film, how proud are we as filmmakers? But how proud are we as Brock to be able to tell the story? And because of Angel Studios' confidence in their convictions, that we get to tell stories for him, and we get to delve in where before Christian films were all just kind of very sweet films. Now we're talking about real life issues in film and still give glory to him. Man, how exciting is that as filmmakers who are also believers in God? It's a wonderful time to have this, and I couldn't be prouder of the shift and what everything that Brock has done and what the Angel Studios are doing. It's a great time for everything, and I'm so blessed.
Well, I'm very blessed to have been talked to both of you today, and thank you so very much for the shift. Congratulations with the film, and yeah, best of luck with the film's release as well. It's well worth for everyone to watch it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you for watching the Matt's Movie Reviews channel. Please subscribe for more reviews, podcast interviews, and exclusive content. Also, if you would like to request a review and support my work, please join my Patreon via the link in the description below.